self-defense event happens in seconds. And in the time it takes to listen to this commercial, your life could change forever. I pray you're never forced to shoot in self-defense. But if you must, then you must be ready. That's why the USCCA exists, because every responsibly armed American should have the training, the education, and to navigate a self-defense situation. And should you ever need it, the 24/7 critical response team is right there for you. To discover more about USCCA, visit uscca.com/GOR. Act now because the life you save could be your own. That's uscca.com/GOR.
That's awesome. What do you think about that, Action Jackson?
He's back, Action Jackson.
Yeah.
Back and better than ever.
Where you been, son? Gone but not forgotten?
Pretty much.
Tell him, hey, man, you're a popular guy. Your dance card fills up quick.
I know.
Right.
I thought it did. Watch, is this going to help?
Hi, Alicia.
Hey.
How are you?
Really well.
Yeah? Did you do anything fun?
Basketball weekend.
This basketball weekend?
It's basketball season.
A whole different kind of shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Got to fall through your shot.
Hey,
That's
man,
it.
nice shot. Well, cool. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we kick off? You know, we do this new thing in the 4 o'clock hour where we go around the Southern California and listen to what's going on in the other areas. I think I have to fill in for Carla.
Oh, I was going to say.
She's doing something cool. But
I was going to say you have to fill in for Gail as well, too.
No Gail either?
No Gail.
Just Heather?
Just the Heather.
Heather could do it.
Dude, Heather is man enough for 3. So she'll just that's okay. If all we have is Heather, we still have more than we can all handle, so that's okay. Heather, how's it going?
Did you hear that, Heather?
I did.
I think that's
I'm
a
doing
compliment.
well. How are you guys?
Just make sure the check
know.
doesn't bounce. That's all.
Heather is the executive director from Orange County Gun Owners, and she's here to tell us all about what's going on in Orange County. How are you doing, Heather? Tell us what's up with what's going on with Orange County.
I'm doing good. We had a busy week. We went and spoke at We the People, their meeting on Monday. And I did, if anybody missed it and they want to hear it played back, we do have some playback segments on our Instagram and Facebook, and we should get on YouTube soon at OC Gun Owners. If you go to Facebook and Instagram, you can see the playbacks if you're interested in learning, what's going on with some of these bills that are coming in California. And then we had our monthly meeting on Wednesday.
How did that go?
We went to It went really well. It was a little chilly out, so everybody was trying to keep warm. But we were at On Target in Laguna Niguel, and the owner Greg he spoke with us for a little bit about even the gun shops and gun ranges, getting them set in the counties and what it takes. So it was very interesting listening to him speak about that for a bit.
That's awesome. And
yeah.
Good attendance, and had some folks sign up to be members, and auction went off without a hitch. I guess we talked about the auction last week, but it still went off without a hitch. I still have to, if you're listening, the winners of some really fancy wine in the Oceanside area, I'm going to make sure that you get that probably tomorrow. So I still have some really nice wine to deliver. But
He's almost got it drank. You'll get the bottle.
But everything else is going really, really well. All the other stuff is getting delivered, and thank you all to those who participated. The auction went really, really well, right?
Yes, thank you so much for everybody who donated both auction items, but then also donated when they won their bids. So it was much appreciated. We raised about $20,000 as a whole, so it's very helpful, when we're fighting for our Second Amendment rights. So
awesome.
And then we also go ahead. We have our CCW seminar is coming up here in Orange County on Monday at 7. It's on Facebook Live and Zoom. You can find the links on our website at ocgunners.com, so you can join in. Anyone who's interested in getting their CCW here in Orange County, we'll go through the process, getting them started with the application and clear through till when they get it and their CCW lifestyle afterwards.
So Heather, I'm curious, what is the current start to finish in Orange County for a permit?
They've been really pushing it up, so it's been running like maybe 4 months for some people. They've been pushing a lot of the appointments up. One of the ladies that I know that's going through it, she had an appointment in May, and it just got pushed to 2 weeks from now. So they're definitely moving, trying to get them through here. Our Sheriff Barnes wants his citizens' arms, so he's trying to get us all our CCWs as quickly as possible.
Awesome job. We're going to talk about Inland Empire, then we're going to talk about San Diego, and then we're going to go to a commercial break. Thank you so much, Heather. go to orangecountygunowners.com or ocgunowners.com. If you're in the Orange County area, sign up, be a member, get involved, help Heather help you with the Second Amendment. In Inland Empire, Carla, of course, she's actually taking a class right now, a firearms-related class. She can't call in, but Inland Empire is doing a fantastic job. They had their monthly meeting yesterday. They're going to be partnering with Reform California, Carl DeMaio's organization, in a couple of about a month and a half. They're actually going to have a town hall that's going to have to do with the Second Amendment, getting involved, and the rising crime rate in Riverside. If you haven't heard, the Attorney General Bonta, who is a horrible politician, who is horrible when it comes to the Second Amendment, he's now on a witch hunt after Riverside's Sheriff Chad Bianco, who's a fantastic fantastic guy. I don't know if he's a god status, but he's a fantastic guy, and we're going to try to get him at that event as well, because we definitely want law enforcement to be involved. We want his department to be involved. He's a very pro Second Amendment guy, wonderful, wonderful guy. Carla had a great showing yesterday. They had a USCCA seminar that went off really, really well. They had a great showing, and thank you, Carla. Thank you, Inland Empire, for all that you guys are doing. San Diego County gun owners, last but not least, we had our monthly meetings last week. We had a monthly meeting at North County Shooting Center, Power Weapons Gear, and, of course, LaBella's Pizza. All three featured a really fantastic seminar sponsored by USCCA. And featured an attorney who had an extremely interesting CCW lawsuit that he won. And it was fascinating, some lessons learned. There was a lot of people with a lot of questions. It was a really great way to learn more about what you can and can't do when it comes to carrying, to really spell out the law. You read these penal codes, and sometimes it's really difficult to kind of figure out, like, what is it that we can and can't do here? So Gary Gibson is the attorney's name. Him spelling it out with real-world examples was extremely, extremely valuable. So that's what's going on in Orange County and Inland Empire and San Diego. How's that sound? What do you think, Alicia?
Doing great things.
Pretty big week, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Big.
So everybody get involved. Inland Empire gunowners.com, San Diego County gunowners.com, or SDCGO.org.
Sounds like a plan, Sam.
Yeah, I went up to the Inland Empire gun owners meeting, and it was really fantastic.
In the Jeep?
In the Jeep.
In the rain?
In the rain. That was
good thing you put good tires on it.
Good tires and a hard top now. I can't even imagine doing that trip. I went up there a couple times this last week. I can't imagine doing that trip in that soft top that I had, that half top that I had.
Wear waders.
It was pouring rain. I don't know if I've seen a winter like this.
Climate change.
It must be climate. Is it like an El Nino or La Nina or whatever?
Who knows?
Sally Fields.
Sally Fields.
That's the kind of rain we had.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I think you could.
Stay tuned. John Correia's next. I want to talk to him about some really interesting things that have to do with lethal and non-lethal force.
I'll tell you about Sally Fields.
Well, stereo the answer.
If you watch Active Self-Protection on
easy for you to say.
YouTube, I know.
Oh, yeah, guys, give me
On the YouTube channel, you might have heard that as gun owners, it really is important to have something between a strong word and a lethal force. Stay tuned for John Correia from Active Self-Protection.
Isn't that a cute shade of red?
Which one?
On her.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
I thought that was makeup.
No. Hey, if you have legal matters that involve firearms and you need to call California firearms lawyer John Dillon, if you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant, call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at DillonLawGP.com.
Our next guest is what I like to call a Second Amendment A-lister. Right? I mean, this guy, if you don't know who John Correia is from Active Self-Protection and you own a gun, you must be living
under a rock.
You live under a rock. Yeah. Your gun is protecting your rock, and that's about it. Active Self-Protection is a fantastic YouTube channel. John Correia is a fantastic trainer. What he's created, him and his staff, is second to none.
And beyond firearms as well, I've used a lot of his videos. I teach I teach high school. And I have from time to time taught courses, just different. It's charter school enrichment courses about self-protection, self-defense, awareness, all those. And I've used a number of John's videos in my courses there as well with youth, not even firearms related.
Truly,
you
truly
teach high
very good.
school?
Yeah.
High school?
Did you guys just meet today?
I didn't know she did that. Did you know she taught high school?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
I thought you homeschooled.
My own children I do, but then I teach at an enrichment center for charter kids.
All right, so we'll talk more about that. Let's get
think?
John on the line. John Correia, my friend, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. You said I'm an A-lister. I think I'm on a list, but I'm not. On A-list.
We're all on a list. Let me
Touche.
tell you.
If you're not on a list by now, you should be ashamed of yourself.
How are you, man? Thank you so much for all that you do. I truly cannot say enough good things about ASP and John Correia and your whole staff and everybody there. You guys do a wonderful job. It's not just interesting. It's not just fun. It's an important informational resource, and you guys are truly changing gun culture, changing gun owners in America. And I can't tell you, I could sit here and go on and on and on. You guys are so great.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And, it's just kind of funny because, of course, the channels are worldwide. And just this, I'm American, right? I believe in the right to keep and bear arms. We talk about Second Amendment all the time. I got an email today from a guy, no kidding, in Iran. Well, actually, Mike, our podcast host, got an email from him that we helped him get out of a situation that he was in and protect himself. And so that message is going out over the whole world, the right to keep and bear arms.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Like some kind of defensive gun use situation, or?
Well, apparently very difficult in Iran for them to own guns. And so he had some kind of a road rage situation that happened, and he was able to get himself and his loved ones away from it. So
a situation where
it's a little difficult. His English wasn't exactly what you call, A-list level there. So, but we had a good basic conversation. And so it was really cool to hear, like, really, somebody in Iran is using the videos. Okay, that's cool.
That's awesome. Well, fantastic. And a big thank you, too, for being a part of our auction. Some lucky winner gets to go take a class with John Correia, gets to have a stogie with him after the class, and gets a free subscription to his Patreon, which is awesome. And thank you so much for supporting us in that way and asking for absolutely nothing in return. Everybody, I got to tell you, John just said, yes, let's do it. No questions asked. Absolutely. And I really appreciate that level of generosity and commitment, man. Thank you so much, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart.
Absolutely. I mean, we believe in the work you're doing, and we're all part of that community, and we want, folks, even those who disagree with us have the right to keep and bear arms, and we want to preserve it for all people, even those who might disagree with it. So I love the work you're doing. I love that you're helping people be better, and we're happy to help. And we'd love to see somebody come and get trained. And our evidence-based pistol skills is an awful lot of what we teach, evidence-based shotgun as well. And, yeah, heck yeah, you want to sit and have a stogie afterwards and hang out? I'm in. Let's do it.
Fortunately, no one disagrees with me, John. You're one of two categories. You agree with me or you're undecided. That's the way I live.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good way of looking at the world, I guess.
All right, let's talk about what I really wanted you to come on and talk about. So a lot of questions. I'm not even sure how to kick it off, but I really want to talk about the difference between pepper spray and a firearm when it comes to across the board, really. First off, let's talk about it. How would you describe pepper spray as far as it's non-lethal defense, right?
Yeah, so we would generally customize that and say less lethal. Not that so I know of exactly one instance of somebody who had a crazy anaphylactic reaction to OC spray and died as a result of it. So one time, which is, I've seen people die from being slapped across the face. And so very, very rare. But of course, from a legal perspective, you don't say none if it's ever done that. So less is how we would say it. But it's not likely to cause death or great bodily injury. And so it's considered ordinary force. And so obviously a firearm, I don't care where you shoot someone, it's highly likely to cause them great bodily harm or death. And so that's considered lethal force. So the OC spray is not to use for lethal threats, but it's to have something between, as Chuck Haggard likes to say, between a harsh word and a gun. We joke that OC. Go ahead.
That's really the point I want to get into. I really want to talk about that. I talk to a lot of people who it's like an either or, you know, and it's not an either or. The pepper spray or any type. By the way, for everybody listening, when we say pepper spray, John, let's kind of. I guess we're kind of talking about the entire spectrum of, you know, pepper balls, pepper gel, pepper spray, just everything that kind of basically fits within those parameters. But when we talk about that, a lot of people go, nah, I don't know if I'm ready for a gun. I'm just going to do this, or nah, I carry a gun, so I'm not going to carry pepper spray. But they're not. It's not an either or situation. They're very different tools. And there's not as much overlap that people, you know, as far as situations, there's not as much overlap that maybe people think. So let's kind of talk about that from that angle. When would you go ahead?
Yeah, there's no overlap there. I mean, unless you're not carrying a firearm. If you're not carrying a firearm, the only thing you have is an OC spray or a pepper spray. Well, then guess what? If a lethal threat presents itself, it's the only thing you got. But if you have a firearm, the firearm is for lethal threats, and the OC spray or pepper spray is for regular threats. You know, the Bureau of Justice statistics says about 80% of assaults every year in America are ordinary assaults. They're not aggravated assaults that would justify the use of deadly force to stop them. And so if you shoot somebody who, say, slaps you across the face or pushes you real hard, minus some significant medical frailty or something like that, you're going to go to prison. And I, you know, they say, you know, Wednesday night is taco night at Rikers Island, but you don't want to try them. and so an OC spray, we jokingly call an eye poke in a can. It doesn't injure. And again, if I don't have to fight someone and they are threatening me with ordinary force, you know, hey man, I'm going to kick your butt. Nope, I'll spray them down. Now, I prefer spray to gel, and I'm looking for a major capsaicinoid percentage over 0.5%. And if you cannot find on the canister or on the packaging what the listing is, if it doesn't say on the packaging what the percentage of major capsaicinoids is, assume it's nothing, because it probably is. And there's a couple brands that'll list them.
So let's talk about what is a situation. There is definitely a situation out there that is 100% smack dab extremely appropriate to use pepper spray, but not a firearm. If you used a firearm in this situation, it would not be, maybe not legal, not ethical, whatever. But pepper spray, it would be. Could you let's talk about that? What does that situation look like?
Yeah, I mean, so let's just say, for instance, that you cut someone off in line, unfortunately, and then you walk into the store and they come in there and they say, you so and so, Umpty Frats, I'm going to kick your butt. And, they are raised voices and all those things. And I'm going to show you what for. But they don't show a weapon. They don't make a move like they're going to kill you. They don't have anything in their hands like that. In the most case, again, absent any aggravating circumstances, that would not be a time where it would be justified to use lethal force. If somebody says, I'm going to kick your butt, and you shoot them, you're going to go to jail. But instead, if you go, hey, man, this guy said he was going to kick my butt, I believed him. And here's a perfect time where I didn't want him to kick my butt, and I didn't want to get into a tussle with him. And so I sprayed him, hit him across both eyes, and got it all up his nose, and it took the starch right out of his jammies. And then we didn't have to fight. And then I called for a little bit of help from the local constabulary and let them figure it all out.
A firearm is to stop a lethal threat, to
100%.
End that threat. A pepper spray is really, and I'm trying to put it in very layman's terms. So, correct me or put it in a much better phrasing, but it's to distract somebody enough for you to get away. It's to make someone go, hey, you know what? I'm stopping whatever I was doing, whatever assault I was about to commit, long enough for the sprayer to get out of that situation.
Yeah, and I mean, a firearm is a break. We use a firearm as a shield as well, right? We use our defensive tools as shields, not as swords. And so our mission as a private citizen, even in a gunfight, if a defensive gun use, is to break contact. We want to, if I have to shoot somebody, I do, in order to let me break contact with them and get away from them as fast as I can. Well, so a firearm is a useful tool against a deadly threat. An OC spray is a useful tool in a similar sense against an ordinary but not lethal threat. Again, somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to kick your butt." Somebody we've seen this a bunch lately. I'm working in a fast food joint, and somebody gets belligerent about their order and starts throwing things at me across the counter. Okay, probably not a time I need to shoot somebody, but I also don't want to end up having a fist fight with him. Somebody road rages and they get all kinds of mad, and we get stopped at a light and they pop out of the car like, they want to come and have a fist fight with me. If I shoot that person, again, absent a significant aggravating factor, I'm going to go to prison. And so, an OC spray is a tool that gives me something between a harsh word and a gun that's not a risk to me. Now, I'm all about also having empty-handed skills, and whether you call that martial arts or combatives or whatever.
And I want to ask on the other side of the commercial break, I want to ask the opposite question. Is there a time that you should use a gun, not pepper spray? So when we get back.
Is dedicated to preserving and restoring Orange County self-defense rights. And if you live in Orange County and want to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, you need to join OCGunowners.com/join. Orange County Gun Owners is the do something organization to restore and defend the Second Amendment. Volunteer at a shooting social, at a gun shop, and tabletop, and help more pro-gun local officials get elected. Save this date. Orange County Gun Owner is May 20th. You'll have a blast. And become a member today at OCGunowners.com/join.
We're talking to John Correia from Active Self-Protection. And you got to check out his videos, if for no other reason, to check out his San Diego County Gun Owners logo shirt that he wears every once in a while. Hey, John, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. So we were just talking about, you just answered the question that, hey, when is it appropriate, or what does a situation look like where it's appropriate to use pepper spray, not a firearm? Now let's ask the other side. What is a situation where it's pepper spray it's just not appropriate? You need to have a firearm to get out of this situation.
Yeah, I mean, we see them all the time, and I put them on the channel, multiple times a week. Somebody, you're in a convenience store grabbing a soda pop or something, and after getting gas, and somebody walks in with a gun to rob it. You don't need an OC spray then. You need to stop that guy quickly, and that involves a firearm. Or somebody tries to carjack you. Carjackings are becoming ridiculously common. And if somebody tries to remove you from your car by force, that is a forcible felony, and a threat to your life. Just the opposite. If somebody grabs you and tries to drag you off somewhere, we call that kidnapping. And that's a forcible felony against your person. You don't need an OC spray then. That's a deadly threat to you and to yours. And so those are the kinds of instances that a firearm is the right answer for. And there's a real easy standard here. Is that would a reasonable person in your situation believe, is there reason for you to believe that you face a threat of death or great bodily harm? And if there's objective, reasonable evidence that you face a threat of death or great bodily harm, and great bodily harm is generally seen as something like, it's going to put you in the hospital. You're going to lose the use of a limb for a significant amount of time. You're going to end up having emergency surgery to repair the damage done. You're going to lose, a function. That's, great bodily harm, and it breaks your bones, stuff like that. Then the use of deadly force is the appropriate thing. So a gun would be the right answer.
Is there a situation where where pepper spray would have made it worse? You know what I mean? Like, let's say a lot of people say, well, gee, if that's all you have, then it's better than nothing. But is there actually a situation where that you've seen, one of the video where, somebody's, like you said, robbing a convenience store or something like that, where you'd say, you know what, no one should try to go after that guy. It might actually make it worse if you have pepper spray. Or is that too broad a question?
Probably not. So OC spray is effective on about 90% of people. About 10% of the population, it just doesn't do a whole lot to. And it doesn't have anything to do with your ethnicity or whether you like, spicy food. It's just some people don't have the same receptors in their brains, apparently. And so, but, if he was about to assault you anyways and you OC spray him and guess what, it doesn't do much, well, you're about to still be assaulted is what's about to happen. And so it generally doesn't escalate. I can tell you that we see on badge cams all the time that when police officers fire the taser at somebody and it's not effective, it always escalates the conflict.
Interesting.
And I mean that. It always escalates it because it's very painful, and it Also, if the officers are like, hey, we're going to take you into custody, and the guy is not actively fighting in the moment or whatever, and pops you, well, guess what? Now he's like, well, I may as well fight. And so it almost always escalates the stuff. Whereas we just don't see that with OC spray. So that's why, I carry an OC spray with me every day.
Even though you have a firearm?
Absolutely, 100% yes. And 16 years of empty-handed training. I'm pretty good with my hands. And, anybody can get anybody on any given day, but I feel very confident in my standing striking and my grappling skills, my ground fighting skills. I'm pretty confident in that, but I still carry an OC spray because, a long-range eye poke makes a lot of sense.
Now, how strongly do you recommend? One of the things I really liked, one of the things I've learned from you, and I don't know how this is going to sound. I don't mean to sound arrogant here, but very few people have truly affected like something I do. You know what I mean? Like I do my own research and I figure out what does and doesn't work, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people, Weaver's better. Isosceles is the only way to go. Whatever, blah blah blah. Everybody's got their opinions. 9mm, 45. Picard. Kirk. Whatever. But one of the things that you've truly changed my opinion on was carrying an extra magazine. You showed that, hey, after all this research, all these real-world experiences, carrying an extra magazine, really pretty unnecessary. And then you said, if you're carrying an extra magazine at the expense of, like an IFAC or a tourniquet, then you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with carrying an extra magazine, but if you're carrying it at the expense of some kind of first aid, then you're definitely wrong. And that has changed something I do daily now, which is awesome. How highly do you recommend a CCW holder carry pepper spray?
100%. I think unless you are an absolute MMA champion, if you are an MMA champion and you feel like, hey, any fight that I get into, that it's going to take a world champion to whoop my butt. And I like getting in fights. Okay, now, of course, we're good, sane, sober, moral, prudent people. We don't want to get in fights, right? So our first order of business is living a lifestyle of de-escalation, escape, and evasion. But there's a reason that I carry an OC spray. Not only is it effective against people, I've actually used it several times against aggressive dogs. Very effective. You're not going to talk a dog down, but, a big aggressive dog that wants to use you for a chew toy does listen quite well when they get booped on the snoot with OC. And so for those reasons, I really think, man, if you're not carrying an OC spray, I feel like you're really missing a tool that would be useful far more often than probably any other tool in your arsenal.
So make room for it on the Batman utility belt, for sure, no question.
It's an important point.
Yeah, I carry mine clipped in my front pocket.
Yeah.
Some people carry it in other places in other ways, but I carry mine clipped in a pocket. And, you don't have to have a big old honking one. The small ones that they make right now, I'm one of our sponsors is Palm OC, and they make a great unit, and it is batch tested and filthy, nasty, mean stuff.
And California legal.
And California legal, 100% legal in California to carry OC spray. So, I really recommend having it. I think it doesn't diminish from me as a firearms carrier. I work on my firearms skills all the time. I'm telling you, again, anybody can get got, but whoever kills me with a gun is going to pay full retail for it. I'll tell you that much. And I have, great confidence in my ability to use a handgun competently, very competently. But at the same time, I think there's so many things that don't, that a handgun is not useful for. And for those, I carry an OC spray.
I think it's important to note as well that if you have a situation arise, there's opportunities where you could de-escalate or stop the threat before it becomes deadly, so you could prevent the need for the firearm.
Yeah,
with
I
the
think
OC.
that's a useful tool. And some people do worry about, well, wait a minute, if I'm carrying an OC spray and I use my gun, then a prosecutor may use it against me. Prosecutor can use anything against you that they want. The question is that a valid argument? And of course, your defense attorney would say, no, my client used a firearm because he faced a threat of death or great bodily harm. And so the appropriate response was to use the firearm. So it's not about, well, you don't have to go through every option you have in order to get to the right option. It's choosing the right one in the moment that's important.
And if you're involved in politics, then that means you have worked hard to get the right DA in office. So hopefully some knucklehead prosecutor won't do that kind of ridiculous crap.
Yeah, hopefully. And I think most
digress.
Prosecutors are decent souls, and you get the occasional rogue weirdo that causes problems.
So what would you say to somebody? And I get this a lot. What would you say to somebody who's just like, nah, I'm not gonna buy a gun. I'm not gonna go through training. Someone that who is genuinely concerned with self-defense, and they're kind of weighing the options, and they finally go, I think I'm just gonna buy a $20 can of pepper spray rather than a $600 gun and pay $600 for training and $100 for a holster and $50 for defensive ammo. And then I'm just going to carry pepper spray, rather than go through the hassle. I can afford it. I have the time. I could do it, but I'm just going to do pepper spray as if it's either or. What do you say to that person?
I mean, generally speaking, Mike, I just say, okay, great, good for you. I don't, as the old adage says, man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, right? And so if that's what someone wants to do, I go, okay, man, I guess what? I'm not going to be there on the day that you need a gun, and you're not going to be at my gunfight either. So best to you, and hopefully you never get into a place where you need it and you ain't got it. But if you want to just carry an OC spray, I know plenty of people that I have a good acquaintance who says, man, carrying a gun makes me super paranoid and really ruins my quality of life, and I just can't do it every day. And I do carry a pepper spray, but carrying a gun is really hard on me emotionally. Okay, then maybe it's not the right thing for you to do, and I don't judge somebody else. I think you have the right to keep and bear arms, but I'm not saying everybody has to.
I'm actually a big believer in pepper spray. I absolutely love it. I say that. I'm not carrying any right now. I need to go buy some more. But I used to carry it. In fact, more often than not, I'm carrying pepper spray. But well before I had my CCW, I'd carry it. I really liked Mace had a product that I really liked, the top. I'm open to what new products, but I used to carry it so often, and I was such a believer in it. I swear, if I hadn't started San Diego County gun owners, I would have started San Diego County pepper spray owners, and I mean that sincerely. I would go to restaurants, and I'd take my phone and my wallet and my pepper spray out and put it on the table. Because inevitably the waitress would make a joke like, "Oh, what's that?" or "What's going on?" And I'd say something like, "Oh, it's in case the Caesar salad isn't spicy enough." And a lot of the times I would end up giving that pepper spray to the waitress because it would spark a conversation, and they'd go, "Yeah, I've kind of thought about it. I don't really know, and I work late and parking lot and weird guys and whatever." And I'd say, "Here, take this," and I'd end up giving. I'd probably give them away a couple times a month. To be honest,
Still
with you.
give a tip?
I would still give a tip, Dave.
I'm just checking.
I was concerned, not cheap. So anyway, I'm a big believer. Is there a particular brand or product that you like better than the rest?
Yeah. We've invited Palm OC to be a sponsor of Active Self Protection because their product is the best in the market. I only recommend that which I personally use. My wife, my kids carry Palm OC, and palmpepperspray.com is where you can find them.
POM, right?
A good tool, good top, correct stuff. They have been right in the forefront of helping us with abused and abandoned foster kids as well. So the owner, Alex, puts his money where his mouth is and is a great dude.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, John. John Correia, Active Self Protection. Check him out on YouTube. Great guy, just so much free information, but also become a client. He puts his money where his mouth is. Great dude. I just can't say enough good about.
Well,
John.
the only warning I could throw out there is be careful because he's very, very addictive.
Good looking. Oh yeah,
very.
I thought you were
addictive.
going to say something else.
Because once you start watching him, you can't get away from him.
Truth.
Thanks, buddy. Good talking to you.
See you, John.
Hey, do you know we have a world-class flight training school right here in San Diego? Pilots can fly almost every day, and we're close to the ocean as well as the desert and the mountains. Plus, SDFTI instructors can help you learn to navigate around the international border and military bases safely. That's why San Diego is one of the best places to learn how to fly in the world. Learn to fly in sunny San Diego right at Montgomery Field. Get started. It's super easy. Just call 858-569-1822. Learn to fly at SDFTI. That's 858-569-1822.
Awesome. So, there's a couple things I just kind of wanted to get caught up on locally.
Sure.
Like CCWs. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, I have.
So a lot of people are asking. It's been, a few months now, and a lot of people want to know, like, all right, we helped this new sheriff. We helped her get elected. So how's it going?
Yeah.
You know,
How is it going?
it's actually going really, really well. And I have a couple of things to point out. First off, she remains extremely responsive, Sheriff Martinez. So if I have an issue, a problem, whatever, she's in. Not a problem. In fact, we haven't announced it yet, but we have an event at the end of April having to do with our Not Me program where she's going to come and be a guest speaker.
Sweet.
So if you haven't met her yet, you'll have the opportunity to hear her talk. We'll talk more about that later. I don't want to steal some thunder that's coming on down the road. But the CCW, so how's it going with CCWs? Well, there are still thousands in the queue. So like 5,000 people are waiting to get their CCW. So they've been inundated, especially, from our efforts, from San Diego County gun owners' efforts of, getting people to get their permit and teaching. But also, the Bruin case. The Bruin case sparked a lot, even though there's nobody who can get their permit now that couldn't get it before the Bruin case. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I don't think a lot of people really fully understand that. There's not one single person in San Diego County that could not get their permit a year ago who can now get their permit because of the Bruin case.
Right.
But it sparked a lot of people's interest. Some people are just philosophically like, hey, I just didn't want to put a good cause. I don't care if I could have put a good cause and it would have gotten me my CCW. I didn't want to have to do that. So, philosophically, I decided not to do it. Right. Okay, fine.
Now.
But you could have gotten it. Mm-hmm. So there's 5,000 people waiting in the queue. There's a lot of interest, but I have a number for you. Since November, so that's November, December, January, February. 4 months. Okay. In the last 4 months, they've averaged 570 new CCWs per month.
Wow.
Which is
huge.
Hugeangus. I think I don't know if that's a political or a legal term. Kelly, could you maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Kelly confirmed it's both a political and a legal term. Before a year ago, it was more like 150. Mm-hmm. It was more like 150. 200 a month would have been a huge month. And now, since November, she's averaged 570 per
Hats
month.
off to her team.
Hats off to her and her team. And everybody out there that helped her get elected, everybody out there that helped San Diego County gun owners, the pressure we put, how important, everybody. You know what I mean? So that's fantastic. So anybody out there that was nervous about voting for her, you made the right decision.
Right. By voting for her.
Anybody out there who, had some conspiracy theory that she was going to turn on us, you were wrong. And that's okay. But I'll bet you I'm not going to get a flood of emails saying, "Hey, Mike, sorry."
Nice job.
Whatever. I'm not here for that.
But you got it. Just to be the devil's advocate, just a tad. It's a little hard to trust the government.
Oh,
whether it
God.
be local,
I'm with you.
Regional or national. I mean, they don't tend to tell the truth really well.
100%. I agree. I don't trust the cashier at the grocery store these days,
right?
To give me an honest answer on anything. So I hear you. Maybe I was trying to be funny. Maybe I was a bit harsh. Nobody owes me an apology. I just wanted to say, hey.
But you know what I mean? I mean, it's because we hear promises every election.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there are a lot of. I get lied to a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine. And it's so funny because they don't think nothing of it.
No.
But when somebody actually does what they say they're going to do,
it's refreshing.
It's like, wow, I had no idea.
The other thing is SB2, which is the one that's basically going to make every area outside of your home a sensitive area. So even if you have a CCW, you can't carry it, which is total BS. She opposes it. Don Barnes, the sheriff up in Orange County, has already written a letter formally opposing
he's
it.
not going to endorse it or force it.
Right. Well, I don't know. So is that what he said in the letter? He said he wasn't going to enforce it?
That's what I.
Fantastic! That's awesome. I must have missed that part. It's up on Gun Owners Radio's website. You can read it for yourself. I'm sure we're going to get some kind of formal opposition letter from Sheriff Martinez. Just not yet. It's coming. And then, of course, the two sheriffs in San Bernardino and then Sheriff Bianco in Riverside both absolutely oppose it. I spoke earlier in the first segment about how Bianco is getting.
Is that the Riverside?
Yeah,
Sheriff?
Bianco's in Riverside.
And Gascon's going after him?
Bonta.
I think Gascon is too.
This is Attorney General Bonta is going after him.
Okay, I know he's going. Okay, that's who it was.
Yeah. So, which is
Go for it.
Political witch hunt.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Get on your bicycle and pedal away. Let's see what you can do. I don't think he's going to budge.
I don't think he's going to budge. Not only is he not going to budge,
He's going to smack him back.
Yeah.
Dig in.
Did you see his statement? Did you see his statement, Alicia? Did you see the video?
No.
Bianco came out with a video. Check out. Go to InlandEmpireGunOwners.com. We posted the video on there, and gloves are off, man. He was on Carl's show last week. Spoke to him just very briefly, and he's not backing down. He said,
with the bull, you get the horn.
Yeah, he's like, go ahead, investigate the heck out of us. We're as cooperative as it gets. I dare you. Mm-hmm. So good for him.
And that's what we need. We need people that'll stand up and not, whimper away because they don't want to take a chance of being, made fun of or called, all the great names they like to call you and make you go hide.
Yeah,
we need fighters.
I agree. Bianco really is, I don't have a lot of favorite politicians, and he's definitely my favorite. I really, truly have a lot of respect for the man. He's done a great job.
You need to take Martinez to lunch, though.
I would love to.
She says, this is really a hard job I've got. She said, I've never worked this hard in a long, so you need to take her to lunch.
All right, I'll take her to lunch. And I like. Does she say what genre of food she likes best?
Spaghetti at dinner.
There you go.
No,
Himalayan?
I didn't ask her that.
Yeah, take her some Himalayan food
because they do. But they do bring her. I mean, she's in KOSI a lot. She's almost there as much as you are.
Yeah.
And by the way, good segment the other night.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you look good. You even had the right lighting. It was really a good segment.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. They did a really great story on CCW's.
Yeah.
Desi was on there from Not Me.
I know.
She was
on
KOSI.
again.
She was on again. She did such a good job. Congratulations, Desi, on the great job you did. Desi had a very interesting angle. We should probably have her to come on and talk about it. But basically, with the listening sessions that happen in the county, which are, nothing more than
your favorite.
Yeah, they're nothing more than, hey, let's figure out how to ban your guns more.
Right.
And then SB2, both very anti-gun, she basically said, look, both of these things, and she wrote an op-ed on it. She was on KOSI. She did a great job. They're trying to solve gun violence, right? We're trying to minimize gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
That's the buzzword. So great. Best way to do that is to make sure that victims are armed, and that's exactly what Not Me does.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really, really.
And they're all going, no, that's not what we meant. That's not what we meant. We want to take your gun away.
Well, KUSI did a great job of taking her seriously, and they had her on twice, and she made her.
I know
case.
They like her better than you.
Well, can you blame them?
What can I say?
Can you blame them? I mean, geez.
You're just good because they don't have to use any makeup.
It wouldn't help.
It would help.
She's far more pleasant.
Yeah, he was a little nervous at first, but the second one was even better than the first one.
Yeah, she did a great job. She's wonderful.
I told her.
My whole crew, man, everybody.
Yeah, your crew.
Gail when she calls in. Gail when she calls in. Heather, Carla, Desi, my whole crew.
Yeah, you got a crew.
Got a crew.
No
Everybody.
doubt about it.
Everybody's awesome.
Don't forget Alicia.
Who?
Jackson.
Who are you talking about?
Alicia.
Who?
I thought I was your crew. I thought I was Alicia's crew, not she was my crew.
No.
So that's why.
Who's Jackson? Who's he belong to?
He runs.
He's a rebel.
He's the manager. He runs the show.
Oh, you're the manager? Yeah. He's a chauffeur.
He puts the man in manager.
Thank you.
Ain't nothing of it.
Anyway.
Bum.
So that's your update on CCW's SB2, the sheriff, a couple other things. Just a couple of random things we wanted to wrap up and talk to everybody about and just inform you. But I thought that $570 a month average was
that's huge.
Really impressive.
The current grand total. Do you know what the total is overall in San Diego County?
Oh.
Dave, how many people total have a CCW?
I forgot. I was supposed to say it.
Just take
Guess.
4,200.
Oh, no.
4,200?
No.
You asked me to guess.
10,082.
90 seconds.
We just went over the 10,000.
10,082 currently issued in San Diego County.
How are we doing as far as San Diego County gun owners?
What do you mean? Great.
Signing up.
Oh, I don't know the membership number.
What did we bring you in here for?
Like 3,500, something like that.
Now we know where Sam gets it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know that number. It's somewhere around 3,500.
That's not bad.
Not bad. I can't believe it.
I remember when you had 100 and you were stoked.
I honestly, I remember the first time a notification came over the email and it was a name I didn't recognize. And I thought, oh my gosh, a stranger found us. And I called him to talk to him.
It was your dad.
No, it wasn't my dad.
Inland Empire gun owners strive to be the ounce of prevention in the fight for your gun rights. And how do they do that? They do it by fundraising, getting local pro-gun candidates elected. Become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join and join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment right. That's iegunowners.com/join.
All right, we have a new winner this week, and Action Jackson's going to read off the name of the winner. This is it's one of our Gun Owners Radio newsletter prize winners. If you want to join, if you want to actually take a chance at winning, what I'm trying to say, then sign up for our newsletter. Just go to gunownersradio.com, sign up for our newsletter, keep on top of everything. And this week's winner is
Richard Leager.
Whoa! Congratulations, Richard. You win a T-shirt or a cap. Again, join the email newsletter by going to gunownersradio.com/subscribe. Free CCW seminar at San Diego Flight Training International on February 28th, 6 o'clock. It's filling up, but there's still a lot more space. All you got to do is sign up at gunownersradio.com, and then, of course, click on the calendar. And you're going to get a free tour of the flight school. CCW seminar at San Diego Flight Training International, February 28th, 6 p.m. Again, free tour of the flight school. If you have any interest at all in guns, CCW, flying, the flight school, any of that, please come out. They've been a fantastic sponsor. Of course, we interviewed them not long ago. It was a fascinating interview. Can't tell you how much we appreciate your support, San Diego Flight Training International. Gun Owners Radio Range Day also is on April 23rd. Shoot outdoors. You get to shoot on steel, move and shoot in the Grove, which is out in the Escondido area at a private range. Well, it's not really a range. It's an area. How do you say that?
You're asking the wrong person.
Ex nihilo. Ex nihilo. Man, that's awkward. Ex
nihilo.
Ex nihilo. XNIHILO.
I went to public school, Michael. Give me a break.
So did I.
And Franklin Armory will have product for demo. I'm so sorry I butchered your name. That's all on me, but I'm sure the product's fantastic. And anybody that wants to go to Range Day and try it out, please come out, especially Franklin Armory. We interviewed them a couple weeks ago. That was really fascinating.
Exciting news on that. The items arrived.
Really?
Yep.
And?
I'm hoping to begin drossing tomorrow so that I can have them ready for that day.
That's awesome.
I don't know what it is yet, though. I just know the tracking shows it's arrived.
What is it?
Franklin Armory.
Franklin Armory. We suspect they sent us their version of the 320.
Oh, okay. Because we asked them to.
But we asked them to. Now, what's actually in the package, I don't yet know. It's like Christmas.
You haven't picked it up yet?
I can't. So it has to be dressed. So there's a process.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mike will help you.
Yeah, I'll help.
He has an in.
I own a Jeep.
He knows people.
I do know people.
You do know people. Talk to the sheriff.
So the Gun Owners Radio Range Day on April 23rd, by the way, normally $100, only $20 if you're a 10-ring member.
Yeah, and you get one bullet.
You get more than one.
Oh, really? Ooh.
So 10-ring members, sign up. It's only $20 for this Range Day. If you're not, you can still participate, $100, or just become a 10-ring member. Save $80.
What day is April 23rd? Is that a Saturday or Sunday?
April 23rd this year, you're
Sunday.
talking?
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
You're welcome.
You broke your phone.
Oh, well.
That'll teach
now
you.
Now I have to get an iPhone, right?
See, so now I can't
Can
go.
you reach that? You grab it?
Jackson.
So right under your feet.
Grab that, Shorty. He can't get down there.
All right, training winners, ASDS. Thanks, bud. ASDS is one of San Diego's top firearms trainers, and their Intro Combat Carbine class is March 4th. This is a great class to learn how to use your AR pattern rifle. $250 value. It's gun, gear, and ammo not included. A lucky listener is... Oh, this is awesome!
I know her.
Lucky listener winner is Grace Meyer. Congratulations, Grace! And then 10-ring winner, Carlo DeLeo. How are you, Carlo? Fantastic. I hope you're listening. Both these people are fantastic people. I'm so glad that they won. What an awesome, awesome thing. Again, that's active self-defense school, active shooter defense school. Sorry.
Have you been coming to my school? Hey, no laughing over there.
It's their intro combat carbine class on March 4th. They win.
Sweet. You have a carbine?
I do. Yeah, my AR.
There you go.
My AR is my carbine, and it's got a barrel that is a
Most do.
It's the barrel length is like a whisker over 16 inches.
Oh, whisker.
So it's as legal as it's
as
as legal as it can get. Yeah,
illegal as it can get.
Is it the right size barrel?
Yeah. What do you mean?
All right.
What do you mean?
Don't ask him tough.
The right size barrel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Thought you had one that wasn't sized right.
Oh,
Run caliber.
It's a whisker. It's a
It's
whisker.
a whisker.
Oh, that was the receiver.
Oh, was it? Okay.
We were talking
I thought
about
it
the
was a barrel.
receiver. Yeah, I bought an upper that was a 458 SOCOM,
Yeah.
and I took it to the range with Alicia, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, and because it kept jamming, and I was really.
Did you put it together?
No, I didn't, but I was really frustrated. They used, a 458 SOCOM is almost identical to a 5.56. They use the same mags. So there's a lot of overlap. One thing that has to be different is the ejection port has to be bigger because the brass is so much bigger on a 458 SOCOM than it is on a 5.56. So whoever put it together didn't use the correct receiver so that the ejection port was 5.56, not 458 SOCOM.
Did Alicia show you that?
I think so. Did you figure that out?
I did not. Well, we knew there was a problem.
Yeah.
I didn't. I couldn't identify what it was.
We both,
But I didn't have my ruler.
we both figured out quick it was a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't shoot.
No,
you know-
shoot.
You know who figured it out? It was Morgan at Gunfighter Tactical. So we swapped it out, and now it works like a charm.
Cool. Now you're going to take the class?
But the upper for my 5.56 was actually Gunfighter Tactical too, and I'll tell you guys a secret. I said I want this. I have an AK-74 break, and I said I want to keep this, even though it's an AR. I want an AK break on it. And he's like, all right, no problem. So they're putting it on a new barrel, and he called me up and he goes, oh man, we put it on the wrong barrel, and I'm like, all right, well, what barrel did you put it on? And he goes, well, you wanted this $200 blah-bitty-blah barrel. It's now on like a $400 or $500 Daniel Defense barrel. I'm like, I was like, all right, that's okay. And it's like a
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm like, it's okay.
I got extra tires on
But
my
you know
Jeep.
what? Gunfighter Tactical, such a great shop.
They
didn't charge me for it.
Well, they shouldn't.
Well,
No, they made a mistake.
but I offered. They could have.
Well, that's
I
true.
wouldn't have held it against them.
Now, if you hadn't offered,
Well, they could have done one of two things, right? They could. Well, they could have done a number of things. Yeah, they could have taken it off, put it on another.
Yeah.
And they were just like, you know what, Mike, we're just gonna,
yeah, you're good with it.
And I'm like, well, I'll pay for it. They said no.
Well, no,
Whatever.
you know what you did to pay him back? You just did it.
Yeah,
You
well,
said just a good story about Gunfighter Tactical.
that's true. But the customer service we get in the firearms industry, I think is bar none.
impeccable.
It's bar none. And if you do get bad service, I highly encourage you
To go talk to 'em.
Yeah, work it out with them. Don't trash them.
But if you don't know what you're talking about, your best bet is to go up to somebody, the guy or the girl behind the counter, and say, all right, here's what I want to do. What would you buy?
Yeah, I think it's a
And
good
just
idea.
leave it.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance you have no clue what you're talking about. I mean, really, if you're not into it like a lot of people are, if you don't really know what you want, I find that works better all the way around, even with food.
It's like asking the waitress what their favorite food is on the menu.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Well, you know why I do that.
Except
Spaghetti.
Himalayas.
You guys have both been out to eat with me. You know why I do that. You know why I always ask the waitress, "Oh, what's your favorite thing on the menu?"
No, why?
Because I can't read the menu anymore because it's all the font is too small.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, a lot of companies are super unhappy with their websites. It looks old, it's out of date, and it's just not getting customers. But Sage Street gets it. Since 2005, Sage Street has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. So stop being frustrated by your website and get one that you're real proud to share. Contact Sage Street today to get a website that makes the phones ring, and getting started is easy. Call 866-726-9100. That's 866-728-9100 and get your website fixed today.
All right, our next call-in guest is he's running for office, so we wanted to have him come on. And then we're doing something kind of interesting. The next segment, we're actually having two guys running for the same office back-to-back on the show so that they can both plead their case and tell us why they're the best person for the job. So the very first person, even though we're still we're like a year away from an election.
To be here tomorrow.
It'll feel like it.
Trust me.
It'll feel like it. So first guy is Jack Fernandez. How are you, man?
Good, Michael. How's it going?
Fantastic. Now, what are you running for?
Running for the state assembly here in San Diego County, the 75th district.
75th district.
Yeah.
That's that's so. What is that? That's East County, up into north a little bit, right?
Well, so I usually tell people it's the new 75th because it's still run with Marie Waldron as the incumbent. She's going to term out. It used to include some parts of Escondido, San Marcos. Now it goes from south of Riverside all the way to the border of Mexico, and you hit the nail on it. It includes a lot of East County, Lakeside, El Cajon, all the way up to places where I live, unincorporated territory. I call it God's country, Bonsall, Valley Center. So quite a big district.
So what was the catalyst? What made you want to run?
COVID, honestly. I never thought I was going to run. I never thought I'd run for office in a million years. Growing up, I heard the word politician, politics. It's like my dad fled a civil war in Angola when the communists took over the country. So in my house, like politicians always kind of had a negative term to it. But I couldn't just sit aside and watch good men and good women do nothing, which I think a lot of us have felt like was the case. COVID pandemic, we were sentenced to house arrest for the crime of being taxpayer San Diegans, right?
Yeah.
So that was enough for me. I was an entrepreneur. I still consider myself primarily a businessman, an entrepreneur. Built a few biotech companies, and I handed off the company back in November and decided to run full-time for this because it's actually the last Republican safe seat, the only safe seat we have in all of San Diego County. So whoever's going to get elected to this seat, hopefully it'll be me, will essentially be the assembly member to represent 3.3 million people as the sole Republican assembly member in San Diego County.
What makes you a Republican?
To me, it means limited government first and foremost. I think today it's become a lot different. The terminology can change depending on who you ask. To me, primarily, it means, do you want the government to be bigger? If the answer is yes, you're more likely on the left side of things. If the answer is more of a limited government, more individual liberties, more personal freedoms, more money in your pocket, less taxes. That's what being a Republican means to me.
Wow. Now, what's something that let's say we can wave a magic wand, and boom, you're in the assembly. What's something that you're really going to sink your teeth into? Is there a bill that you would propose, or an initiative or something you want to do? Not necessarily a bill or a piece of legislation, maybe, but what's a priority? What's your number one thing you want to do as if you're the next assembly member from the 75th?
Yeah, awesome question. We're getting right to it. And
there you go. I'm an awesome guy,
I like it, man.
Yeah.
Straight to the point. But I'll tell you this, and you asked the question in such a way with the magic wand, because listeners need to know one assembly member in one seat in a Republican super minority, because if you are a conservative, you need to know this. San Diego County is no longer at all a red county. It is entirely a blue county. It is dominated by Democrats all the way from dog catcher all the way up to the top of the line, any political position. So one assemblyman as a Republican is going to enter potentially 18 assembly members who are Republicans. The rest of an 80 member are going to be Democrats. So 60 some odd Democrats.
So that's why this question is important, because you're absolutely right, because that's the real context of this question. You're going to be in the super minority in a state. What are you going to do? Like, what exactly are you going to do as the assembly member that people should get excited about? Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the magic wand answer too, but I'm going to give you the practical answer first. The reason and what I'm telling people is my platform is, if you want to elect other conservatives in San Diego County in our generation, you need to elect me to the state assembly. Because this, Michael, you met with me. in person. And, I'm sure we'll go, hopefully we'll have a lot of chance to dig into Second Amendment issues in the future or even later today. But, I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of passion. I represent a new generation of conservatives who are not going to compromise on things that we believe to be issues that are battles of good versus evil. And so to that extent, I want to help people get elected to other conservative seats as the sole representative of the assembly. I want to help out school board members get elected. I want to help city council members get elected. I want to help conservative mayors in other cities get elected in all of San Diego County. And in regard to the assembly itself, not only am I going to never accept a bill that's proposing a new tax, I'm going to actively fight against any tax increases because we need more money in the wallets of hardworking San Diegans. We can't even put gas in the cars that Sacramento's telling us aren't going to exist in a handful of years. So I'm going to bring common sense, conservatism to the assembly, and I'm going to help other conservatives get elected.
Okay. Let's talk more about your background. What got you involved in politics? Now, you said COVID. But
Yeah.
what let's talk more about what exactly does that mean? Like, what did you do to get involved in politics?
So I'll give you a quick background here. San Diegan native. I was born here in San Diego, son of a factory worker. I said he fled Civil War. My mother has a neurodegenerative illness, multiple sclerosis, so she couldn't work. She kept the house for me and my sister, and she wanted to be a teacher, so taught us the best she could. I was a product of San Diego Unified Schools, grew up in the public school system, and went on to be the first member of my family to go to college and then to law school. I went to UCLA. I passed the bar, and I actually went straight into entrepreneurship instead of practicing law because I saw a need at the time, this was 2017-18, to build a company that was developing antidotes to protect us, the American people, and our military safe from threats of chemical terrorism. I thought there would be chemical weapon attacks. I helped develop an antidote to a chemical weapon called sarin. Lo and behold, we now saw this global pandemic emerge, and I don't think I could have been doing something more in alignment with national security at a more important time. I got into politics during that time. I started to loosely kind of pay a little more attention to things like border security, the flow of what I believe to be another chemical weapon, fentanyl, through our borders, lots of human trafficking going on through our border here in San Diego, and realizing that there wasn't necessarily a representative of the people who was kind of going out there and paying attention to these issues that I thought were so incredibly important. Then we all got locked down, and, businesses were forced to close. Me being a businessman, I know how impossible it is to rebuild a business from scratch. It's almost impossible once it gets shut down like that. So I started going to city council meetings, started going to board of supervisor meetings, paying a lot more attention, getting active, and realizing that my background at this time and my energy lent me, I think, to being a very strong advocate for the people of San Diego. So that's the long and short of it.
Interesting. Now, let's you mentioned, you talked a little bit about your family history in Angola. Where is Angola, if someone doesn't know?
Angola, yeah, so that's central West Africa. It's actually right below the Democratic Republic of Congo.
So close to the Congo, and talk about the Civil War. Give us the 30-second Wikipedia on what Civil War you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the Angolan Civil War. It formally ended, I believe, in 2001. I'm not a historian in that respect. I think once my dad came to America, we identified solely as Americans, and that is to this day how I primarily identify as. I mean, I'm a San Diegan and I'm an American. I was the first on my dad's side to be born here. He worked in a factory under the Coronado Bridge. A lot of his family members had to flee eventually to Portugal, and a lot of people were killed. A lot of people had to turn over their property to the state. It was not a very friendly situation, very, very sad, and something that I hope will never happen again anywhere.
It was horrible and brutal and bloody and horrible. So what is, and the reason I ask about it, what are your views on the Second Amendment? Why would you call into a gun show? If you're running for the assembly, what are your views on gun ownership and the Second Amendment?
Yeah, so I know you already know the answer to this question, and I thank you for setting me up for an answer that I can make my, Doug Gibbs. I'm going to make Doug V. Gibbs, Mr. Constitution, proud now when I say my favorite amendment, right? Second Amendment, well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. He's going to be so happy I have that one memorized now. But, yeah, so I actually got my concealed carry weapons permit. I'm very happy to be a proud CCW holder, a lawful firearm owner. I got that in response to being, as I said, I became a lawyer. I passed the bar. I went into business instead of practicing law. But I did make a promise to myself and my family when I went to law school that if I did pass the bar and become licensed, I would use the license somehow to help the community. So I, for a short period of time, did some pro bono, 100% free legal aid to an indigent client. It was a woman who was unfortunately a victim of domestic violence, like very, very bad domestic violence. And without going too in depth here into the case, the person who I was helping this woman get a restraining order against, which we were successful. I'm 1-0 in front of a judge. Hopefully we'll never have to go in front of another one. But he was someone who made threats on our life, on both the life of my client at the time, on myself. And so I immediately went to pursue my CCW. I'm very happy to have had Sheriff Gore. So
it's awesome. Congratulations on your CCW, although I'm very sorry to hear about the catalyst, about what got you interested in doing it. So you're obviously a fan of gun ownership and, carry on a daily basis. Anybody help you, by the way, with that CCW?
I have to give a huge shout out to San Diego County gun owners.
Shameless.
You all are amazing.
Absolutely. All right. Do you have a website, Jack?
It's going to be jackjfernandez.com, but it's not up and running yet. We're going to formally announce the campaign soon in the next couple weeks, so please stay posted.
All right, my friend. Thank you for calling in. Awesome job.
Did he win a hat?
No, he did not win a hat.
So much.
What do you mean he didn't win a hat?
All right, we'll give him a hat.
Hey, is there a better tool that empowers a woman to defend against an attacker than 100-pound bigger? Well, that's why it's so important that women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women, led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's totally free. To sign up, go to notmesd.org. The program is also available in Orange County and Inland Empire. So get help today at notmesd.org.
All right, our next guest is a longtime friend, someone I've known for a long time. If you're anywhere near the political world in San Diego, particularly the Republican political world, then you have heard of our next guest. He's been there, stalwart, Politico for years. Wonderful guy, extremely helpful, and he is also running for the state assembly, the 75th district. So we had him. We're having him on to talk about his race and chat him up a little bit. Andrew, how you doing? Andrew Hayes.
Hey, Michael. How are you, my friend?
Good. Nice to hear from you. Talk to me. What's been going on? Now you announced. I think the first place you publicly announced was at a San Diego County gun owners event, right?
You're correct, my friend. That is correct. That was the first time that my candidacy was announced, and I'm very excited. And Senator Jones and Supervisor Anderson recently sent out a letter as well, and highlighting their support for me in this race. And so I'm just grateful for their support as well.
So what was the catalyst? First off, tell us the lay of the land. What's going on in the 75th that we're even talking about this race? Who's in the seat now? And
great question. So currently the seat's held by Assemblymember Marie Waldron, and what happened was redistricting kind of changed how the landscape of this seat will move forward, because what ended up happening was, as you probably tracked very closely, the redistricting commission did what they typically do, which is they packed Republicans all together so that they actually eliminated a Republican seat in San Diego County. And what ended up happening was then Assemblyman Randy Vopel and Assemblymember Murray Waldron were drawn together in the same seat. And so they ended up running against each other, and Marie ended up prevailing. And so what happened, though, is because she won, she only has 2 years left on her term, so she'll be termed out in 2024, and hence why I'm decided to run.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about your background. Talk about let's go all the way back. Where did you start in the world of politics, and what have you done since, and where are you now?
Sure. So the SparkNotes version is this. I started in college. I went and started walking precincts with our local Republican Party. And then, when I did that, I ended up meeting a bunch of folks who then introduced me to then Senator Joel Anderson, who then said, hey, you should come and intern in my office. And so I did. And then after that, he hired me. And then, I ran a few campaigns between then and then. And one of them was my own for school board in 2018. And then after that, when then Senator Anderson was termed out, he ran for supervisor. Senator Jones hired me to work in his legislative office. And so I also helped Supervisor Anderson on his campaign for supervisor. So I kind of just, trekked my way up through the offices as time went on. And really it was about getting out into the community and meeting everybody who I served over that time, starting as a field rep, then moving up to a district director. You end up, working hard to meet people and serve people in the community.
And you know everybody in the community. You've worked really, really hard in the community. You've worked hard for everybody that you've worked for. You've always been there. A lot of people go into politics and I don't know what happens, but they just kind of fall flat and you don't get much production on them. I think they think it was going to be a different world, than it really is. And it's a world where, it's very much a meritocracy. You got to work hard. And I think that you have always had an attitude in the job that I really, really appreciate, which is, service. That you're here to serve, you're here to get things done. It's never been about, from what I've seen, it's never been about your own ambition. It's always been about, hey, what can we do to make this better? How can we move the ball forward, even if it's just, 1 yard, And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And, that's a core value that I have. One of the things that I believe in is that when I'm elected and being on the school board in Lakeside, when I was elected, I knew that I was not elected to be, somebody who just sat on the sidelines. People don't want that. And having been experienced throughout my career, seeing what people were frustrated with and the issues that they care most about, I realized that what people want to see in a leader is they want to see someone who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. And here's what I've done to do this. People are tired, and me too, by the way, as a constituent, as a voter, as someone who I see other leaders in other states and even in our own state who they just give lip service and say, I'm just gonna put my vote, on the no button, and that's what we're gonna do. I believe you got to vote no on the things that we need to vote no on, and you got to fight back. I believe in that. I'm a fighter. I've done that on the school board, but I also believe that if you can move the ball forward and go back to your constituents and say, you know what, here's how I served you, that's what matters. And so that's the key thing to me that drives me in my day-to-day world.
That's awesome. Well, very, very cool. Well, tell us a little bit more about the lay of the land. What suits, what is the 75th district and why are you suited to serve in it? Who's there? What's the they've changed it a little bit, but I think it's still fair to say that this is very much an East County district.
It is. It's actually more of an East County district than the old 75th was. The old 75th was a center North Counties district that even went into Riverside. Because of redistricting, this district has now become 70% of the district is county. And so it goes all the way from Fallbrook down to 15, picks up Poway and part of Scripps Ranch, and then juts east to pick up Santee, and then everything down to the border and out up to Borrego Springs. So everything in between there is in the district. And, those are areas that not only Senator Anderson represented, but Senator Jones currently represents. And I have worked in those communities for nearly a decade and, built deep relationships in the community. And I grew up in the district. I'm the school board president in Lakeside. I grew up out here in East County, and I love the district. And the beautiful thing about this district is that places like Fallbrook and Valley Center, they have the same community of interest, if you will, as Lakeside does. The interests of rural communities are very important because it's different. They're not all the same. And I think that having seen the differences in those communities over my time and service in the legislature will allow for me to hit the ground running on day one. And, not only that, but I have deep relationships with the community members who are on planning boards or school boards. And, many of them, dozens of them, have already endorsed me and are supporting me in this campaign, including, Supervisor Anderson and Senator Jones. So I feel a lot of great momentum in this race. And I think I'm suited in the race, too, because my leadership on my school board of organizing school board members to push back on things that are wrong. And you know what we found during, the COVID pandemic, and we found throughout, the past couple of years, what leadership should look like. And I organized folks to help push back in education. School boards before when I was elected in 2018, people said, oh, it's a school board, not realizing the importance that we have on the influence in our communities with how many kids that we have and the lives that we impact. And so anyway, I'm just very excited.
No, that's awesome. So I'm not above fishing for compliments. I do it all the time, but this is not me fishing for compliments. You've been around and supportive of San Diego County gun owners from the very beginning. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What have you seen? What do you think?
Well, here's one of the things that I love about San Diego County gun owners is you guys have taken stands that certainly not everybody agrees with all the time, but I think that that's important to move the ball forward in dialogue, right? So when we're having conversations about, different issues, you guys have said, hey, who do we need to partner with to help achieve the goal, which for you all is, protecting the Second Amendment, right? And it's solely focused on the Second Amendment, and you want to focus on ensuring that people have a right to bear arms, right, and protect their private property, defend themselves from, tyrannical government, right? And those are all things that you guys want to fight back for. And you guys have not been ashamed to say we're going to cross party lines to do that. And I think in a state like California, we have to be open to those opportunities when they arise, and we have to search for them. And so, because if we don't, then we sit there and we say, we're going to vote no, but we're not going to lead on anything, and we won't win. And so I'm about winning, and I want to see us win for the causes that we believe in. And I think that when we work with others, and I think San Diego County Gun Owners has done that well, right? Has said, look, we may not agree with what you're saying. We want to still work with you, but we've got to get stuff done for our membership, for the cause that we believe in. And I think that that's something you guys have done extremely well.
I like the way you put you said that, reaching across party lines, that we have to be open to doing that when the opportunity arises. What an eloquent and accurate way of putting it. And I really, truly appreciate that. That's exactly what we've done. That's exactly what we've done. We don't go looking for Republicans or Democrats to endorse and stand behind. But when we find one that supports your Second Amendment, then we are unapologetic and we do not hesitate. Well, that's awesome. Well, what would you like to see? How can people, how's it going to look for the next year? Because it's in March, right? The next March.
Yep, the primary's in March, and so a couple, the key things, that I'm looking for right now is, anybody who'd love to support me is welcome to do so. They can shoot me an email and say, hey, I support you. They can, watch for some issues, send me issues that are important to them, because maybe I don't know everything, right? And that's really important. And I want to know what's concerning to people in my district, right? So if people say, hey, this is concerning to me, this pothole's bad, this, whatever the case is, I want to know about it because I want to be helpful. That's number one. But number two is I want people to know that I'm a fighter for things that I believe in, whether that's our kids in school, whether that's our Second Amendment, whether that's lowering taxes to we got to fight some of that cost of living, or whether it be crime, right? Talking about all those key issues. And one of the other things, too, is people have ideas, legislative ideas. On day one, I want to hit the ground running with their ideas. I want to make sure to say, hey, this is a great idea about why we shouldn't put sex predators in neighborhoods. Let's run with it, right? These are things that I want to hear from people.
I've definitely seen you fight. You absolutely are a fighter. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Do you have a website?
Well, my current website is electandrewhayes.com.
Elect Andrew Hayes.
Hey, a self-defense event happens in seconds. And in the time it takes to listen to this commercial, your life could change forever. And I pray you're never forced to shoot in self-defense. But if you must, then you must be ready. That's why the USCCA exists, because every responsibly armed American should have the training and education to navigate a self-defense situation. And should you ever need it, the 24/7 critical response team is right there for you. To discover more about the USCCA, visit uscca.com/GOR. Act now because the life you save could be your own. Go to uscca.com/GOR.
So I got a question. So we just had Andrew and Jack on from the 75th. Awesome. Loved the interviews. Known Andrew for a long time. Really, really great guy. Really good dude. He said Spark Notes. I've been hearing that all over the place. Is that the new Cliffs Notes or Spark Notes? What was Cliffs? Have you heard of Spark Notes?
I don't know. I still use PayPal.
PayPal. That's not. That's not. He said
I'm cluing you into where technology wise where I'm at.
Oh, all right.
I have no clue.
All right. Well, so we don't know. If you're listening out there and you know what the heck Spark Notes are, let us know. It sounds like because the way people are using it, I should have asked them. The way people are using it, it's like it's the way they used to use Cliffs Notes.
It sounds
I'm going to give you the Cliffs Notes version, and now they're saying I'm going to give you the Spark Notes.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's more of a digital version. Is what
I
it's
hate
like.
change.
Yeah.
I hate change.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
let's
exactly it.
Let's just all agree. Everybody, can everybody join hands for a minute? Let's just all agree as listeners that we're just going to continue to say Cliffs Notes.
I think so.
I don't want to change.
How come you put a thumbs
Did you just
down?
give me a thumbs down?
Did you give him a thumbs down?
Do you use Spark Notes?
I don't even know what Spark Notes are.
All right, I feel better.
Neither do
You just gave me a thumbs down on general principle.
Well, because
I'll give you what for?
Hey, you haven't had one in a while.
What? A thumbs down?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I feel like I get a thumbs down every day.
No, you haven't irritated anybody.
All right.
Or maybe you
How about
have.
that's the sweetest thing you've ever said to me, Dave.
All
right, here we go.
Here we go.
Everyone's favorite segment, Stump My Nephew. If you send in some really cool gun trivia and we use it on the air, we'll send you a hat or a shirt. And if you stump my nephew, we'll give you a really cool prize, which will probably be tickets to Gun Prom. But we're open to whatever. All right, Sam, you there?
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Not bad.
Hey, what are Spark Notes? Do you know what Spark Notes are? That's not.
I hear people using them like people used to say Cliff's Notes. So
there you go.
That's good. Thank you. All right, my friend, you ready for this week's question?
Sure, let's have it.
All right. This is the incomparable Action Jackson. Fire away, bud.
Neil from Yuma asks, "What firearm appears on the flag of Mozambique?"
Mozambique. Good question. What firearm appears on the flag of Mozambique? This is Neil from Yuma.
Neil from sunny Yuma, thanks very much for writing in. Mozambique, for those of you who do not know, is not just a shooting drill. It is actually a real country in Africa. And as such, it has its history is spotted by various low-intensity conflicts, civil wars, and the like. And so to reflect the fact that in sort of their national view of themselves in Mozambique, their security as an independent state was won through armed conflict, they have a silhouette of an AK-47 on their flag.
The image of an AK-47 appears on the flag of Mozambique as well as coats of arms of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, and East Timor. The Kalashnikov rifle is also present on the flag of Lebanese militant organization Hezbollah. Not sure why that was relevant. Congratulations, bud. You got it.
That was a good one. You could tell by the tone. You knew what it was.
Neil from Yuma, you're going to get a hat or a shirt, but you did not stump my nephew. What I do think it's extremely interesting that there is a picture of a firearm, for as the other side would say, an assault weapon
On a warring country?
on a country that on a country's flag. And a country's flag is, when it comes to countries, that's about as sacred as it gets, is their flag, right? I mean,
Maybe they're trying to tell you something.
Well, I think they are. I think
so
they are.
Don't come.
Well, I don't think that's what they're trying to tell you.
I don't think they want you there.
I don't know, Sam. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's of course you could write a whole book about kind of the psychological importance of firearms, but I think in the United States, as a product of the fact that we have such plenty and we have such an availability of firearms, we've kind of lost some of the, I guess, philosophical level of respect for them, not so much as a tool, but as a symbol. In America, we think of guns as tools for a particular job. But in many parts of the world and for many hundreds of years of history, weapons, including firearms, were seen very much as a symbol. In the case of Mozambique, a symbol of freedom and independence for their country. Think of it the same way you think of a sword.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think it's interesting. The other way that Americans think of it is, unfortunately, about half of them think that guns are evil. They just don't understand that without them, there's no security, there's no freedom, there's no country, there's certainly no United States.
You'll have evil.
Yeah, evil will prevail because Anyway, all right. Let's move on to what's your article this week?
My most recent blog post was a book review of Black Rifle 2 by Christopher R. Bartacci. It is now sold as America's Rifle, and it is currently in print. The book is great. I couldn't really do it justice in just a relatively short review, but it's really it's one of those must-haves. As I said in my last book review for the Geo blogs, I mentioned that it can be kind of difficult to find authoritative sources of information for someone who's researching firearms seriously for work like I do. And like I know you have observed this effect, and I know probably a lot of you listening have observed this effect, where a lot of what we consider common knowledge, like, oh yeah, everyone knows that factoid, can't really be sourced to anywhere. And if you follow the chain of like who quotes whom, it goes back to like an ARFCOM post from 2008 that doesn't cite its source. So, if you want the actual information recorded by someone who was there and someone who talked to the actual experts and who is an actual expert, then Black Rifle 2 is just a no-brainer. You need it.
Wow. So how does it read? How does the book read? Is it like an informational manual, or is it more of a story, or how does it read?
It doesn't tell one cohesive story like you would expect. It doesn't tell a story as such. It's you can use it more as a reference guide, as like, oh, I want to know about the history of the flat top upper receiver. Well, you flip to that section and then you read that. That's not to say it isn't interesting. It's just that you don't have to read it front to back. You can read it front to back like I did, or you can just look up whatever interests you or whatever you need to know about. So even though the subject matter is a little bit dry, which I like, admittedly, it's still very readable.
Now, you're an author. You're a writer. You've had a published article on the history of the M16. Was there something in this book? Is there something in the book when you read it? Was there something that made you go, "Hey, I didn't know that"?
The book focuses on the time period from about roughly the early 1980s or late 70s, early 80s to about the early 2000s. And most of what I covered in that particular article that I wrote was earlier stuff, but it does include a lot of information that would have been much, much easier to find if I had just had the book at the time.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right. Okay, cool. What's the name of the book again?
Black Rifle 2 is what you'll see it as, but it's currently being printed as America's Rifle. And I have information in the blog post on where you can get it.
And you can find the blog post on any of the PAC websites under their blog section. Just go to the website and add /blog, San Diego County Gun Owners.com/blog, Inland Empire Gun Owners.com/blog, or
2 minutes
.com/blog. Thanks, man. Awesome job.
Thank you. Good night.
Cool.
There you go, Dave.
That was great.
What do you think of that? That was a show, man.
That was up. Went by like a nanosecond.
All right.
Don't forget, folks, join any of our groups, San Diego County Gun Owners, Orange County Gun Owners, Inland Empire Gun Owners, and subscribe to our shows. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to check out all our sponsors, the Dillon Law Group, Sage Tree, if you want a good website, San Diego Flight Training International, U.S. Concealed Carry Association, and a big shout-out to Alicia Curtin, Michael Schwartz, Sam the Gunman, Action Jackson back in the house, Brendan Thomas, and don't touch that dial, Mr. Siegel is in the wings, and he's got a pretty wild show lined up. Lots of fun things coming up this month and next month at San Diego County Gun Owners. Become a 10-ring member, and the benefits will ooze out of you. You'll have more fun than you can shake a stick at. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have a good evening. This is Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The answer.